This is NBC 10 News.
New at 4, taking the emergency room out of the box.
Our goal and our focus has turned to the streets.
More than 1,000 people have been shot in Philadelphia so far this year.
This is a combat application tourniquet.
And now a new program is turning bystanders into first responders.
This can be about regular people saving lives.
Absolutely.
Listen to this. Philadelphia's murder count is up 12% compared to the same time last year. The vast majority of those deaths are gunshot victims who often die, but not from the injury itself, from the loss of blood.
Now, investigative reporter George Spencer is taking us to the other side of the sirens and revealing the push that may allow you to save a life.
The horrific sound of gunfire in Las Vegas remains almost too much to bear.
Keep your head down, go!
The mass shooting killed 58, and yet many of us have never felt the horror of a gun death firsthand. But in our region's largest city, it's common. Last year, on average, shootings claimed to life in Philadelphia almost 2 out of every 3 days. Some victims never make it to the emergency room, whether hit by a single bullet or as part of a Vegas-style mass attack.
The majority of patients who survive the initial injury often bleed to death in the field.
Dr. Marcin Jankowski is the medical director of trauma at Hahnemann University Hospital.
You guys look in his mouth?
And a driving force behind its new Stop the Bleed campaign.
So you don't see a bullet anywhere.
He watched as Philly's gun deaths have ticked up in recent years off their 2013 lows, and realized friends, neighbors, even bystanders could step in with a simple military-grade tourniquet. The program's premise is simple. By stopping the bleeding out in the field, you buy potentially life-saving time for doctors here in the trauma bay.
The tail of the loop there.
Trauma nurse educator Adam Swazlewski leads Hahnemann's tourniquet training.
The first thing that we'd want to do is identify the source of the bleeding.
He demonstrated how to place it 2 to 3 inches above the injury, wrap down the Velcro band, and then tighten.
Take the windlass, twist it until the bleeding stops.
Swazlewski says Hahnemann's grant-funded program has already taught more than 100 non-doctors in classes like this one.
And then flip over.
Over time, he and Dr. Jankowski envision a Philadelphia where tourniquets are as common as the defibrillators now found in offices, public spaces, and even homes, the places where gunshot victims may need it most urgently.
We're kind of looking outside the box and looking beyond our 4 walls here and saying, well, you can do something. You out there can do something.
Truly taking the emergency room out to the streets and into the hands of the public. And you can also learn that life-saving technique in just a matter of minutes. Check out our website, NBC10.com, or our app for a full video tutorial of the tourniquet application by Hahnemann's trauma nurse educator. And coming up at 5, our story takes a new turn. A Philadelphia shooting victim takes us back to the very street corner where he was shot.
Like I said,
and he surprises us with the work he is doing now.
Putting a face to the violence there.
Absolutely.
This tourniquet doesn't look like an expensive piece of equipment.
$25 maybe?
Really?
Yeah, and this idea that it's something that it could become more commonplace, whether it's in workplaces, in gathering spaces like convention centers, even in people's homes, and it is true first aid. I mean, you have the potential by stopping bleeding to buy doctors the time they need to save a life. So it's a powerful campaign, and they're hoping this is just the start of it.
And the idea is that if you have that tourniquet and the knowledge on how to use it.
And it's so simple. And on our website, we're going to have the video that's really a tutorial. Anybody can learn how to do this.
A matter of inches above the wound.
Yeah, a couple of inches up and a few seconds of work, and you make a big impact.
Life-saving difference.
Yes.
George, we'll look forward to the rest of your stories.
Yes, thanks, guys.